Okay, so strategy number 7 in the Principalities playbook is putting people in position. Because remember, the people go in and they're the lowest of the low from the last strategy. These people are slaves. They're, the lowest of the low. So you have to put people in position, right? But these people in position are close to the people in power. Put people in position close to the people in power, right? So this is Genesis 12:14 to 19. This is a person that was put in position that's very close to the person in power. And when Abram entered Egypt, the Egyptians saw that Sarai, which was his wife, was very beautiful. Pharaoh's prince's officials also saw her and praised her to Pharaoh. Pharaoh is the ruler of Egypt. And the woman was taken for the purpose of marriage into Pharaoh's house, into his harem. Therefore, Pharaoh treated Abraham well for her sake, and he acquired sheep, oxen, male and female donkeys, male and female servants, and camels. So Sarah is very beautiful. Sarah now is a plant, and now she has to get close to the person in power. So she's so beautiful that she gets taken into Pharaoh's harem. So Sarah now has two things that she's doing. She's planting ideas. So she's in the harem with all the other women, and she's telling the women things, planting ideas, planting ideas, planting idea. And now she can also get close to Pharaoh and plant ideas, plant idea. The idea that she's planting there must benefit the overarching great idea of them being a special people and taking other people's resources and gaining power, right? Taking power from Pharaoh, but Pharaoh doesn't realize this. He thinks that he just has another beautiful woman in his harem. So Sarah is in there telling these women now that I don't know, that they should start taking birth control, they should protect their reproductive rights, that they should abort their children. She's planting these ideas, planting these ideas. So these women are feeling empowered now to protect themselves and protect their fertility. Because remember, fertility is huge in the principalities power playbook. Huge. So remember, the men's covenant was to cut on their reproductive organ. And for the woman, their covenant is to also cut on their to control their fertility in some way. In the Bible, women's fertility is huge. It is such a control mechanism. As a matter of fact, this idea that was planted to Abraham to get him to move is the fact that he was so starved for a child because Sarah was actually barren and she couldn't have a child. The Lord God promised them that they would eventually have a child, but they took them through a lot of things in order to get them to the point where they could have a child together, and they ended up having a son, Isaac. So, a person in power now has been, or a person was planted close to the person in power. And this step is extremely important. And this step actually happens over and over and over and over and over again because the mind virus needs to get planted in many different locations in order for it to mature and take hold, right? So Sarah gets planted in the arm. She gets talking to the ladies and start talking to them about their reproductive rights and how they need to control their fertility. And so this is huge. This is so huge that the next verse that I read you is going to blow your mind. This is a story in the Bible, Genesis 20. Genesis 20, this whole story, right? So this happens to Sarah again, but instead of it happening to the Pharaoh, this story happens to Sarah with the king Abimelech. Yes. So now Abraham journeyed from there towards Negev and settled between Kadesh and Shur. Then he lived temporarily in Gerar. Abraham said again of Sarah his wife, "She's my sister." So Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah into his harem. So remember before Sarah got into the Pharaoh of Egypt's harem in some way. They saw her and they thought she was beautiful. She also gets into King Abimelech's harem, right? Because Sarah needs to get close to the women to plant the mind virus. Sarah needs to get close to these upper class and middle class women to plant the mind virus inside of them. And the mind virus is about their fertility because fertility is huge in the Bible. So here is Genesis 20, verse 8 to the end. So Abimelech got up early in the morning and called all his servants and told them all these things. And the men were terrified because God dreamt Abimelech and revealed to him that Sarah is actually Abraham's wife. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us?" Because Abimelech didn't know. Abraham actually lied. "And how have I offended you that you have brought on me and my kingdom a great sin? You have done to me what ought not to be done to anyone." Because he said, and Abimelech said to Abraham, "What have you encountered or seen in us or our customs that you have done this unjust thing?" So you have to understand that the idea is being planted that the other people are cursed, the other people are wrong. They don't know that because the special people thinking they're special thinks everybody else around them is wrong, right? Abimelech now is totally confused. He doesn't know why they're acting this way, but he doesn't realize that they're acting this way towards him because they believe that they're special and they deserve these things, and they're acting now in accordance to make sure that they get their desires. So he says, Abraham said, "Because I thought surely there is no fear or reverence of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she actually is my half sister. She is the daughter of my father, Terah, but not my mother. And she became my wife when God caused me to wander from my father's house." So he was caused to wander from his home because of this big idea. He was home, happy, but he gets an idea. You should be bigger than this. Your body doesn't. You should have more than you have. Those people, they have too much. So he is caused to wander from his home because an idea was planted in his mind. Who knows who plants the idea? But an idea pops up. It comes from where all ideas comes from. And an idea pops up and that causes him to be activated and starts to manifest all these things. So this is principality power play to the fullest. When God caused me to wander from my father's house, I said to her, "This kindness and loyalty you can show me at every place we stop to say he is my brother." So everywhere they go, they have been running this racket on people. "He's my brother. She's so beautiful. She gets taken into the harem. She goes and she mingles and she befriends all these middle class, upper class women." She starts planting the mind virus on these women in their minds that they should control their fertility in some way, abort their kids, kill their babies, right? She's planting this mind virus. We're special. So it says, then Abimelech took sheep and oxen and male and female slaves and gave them to Abraham and return Sarah his wife to him. This man has been wronged by them, but look how they switch it around where this man is now giving them things, resources. How interesting is this? They have wronged this man, but some way, somehow, it has turned the tables where this man actually has to be the one paying them, giving them things, unearned things. Do you see this in society today? Do you see this anywhere? Okay. So Abimelech said, "Behold, my land is before you. Settle wherever you please. Take whatever you want." How is Abimelech now giving them things that they have not earned when he is the one that has been wronged? Remember, this is principalities, power playbook, true and through. Then to Sarah he said, "Look, I have given this brother of yours 1,000 pieces of silver." More stuff he's giving them. It is to compensate you for all that has happened, because some way they spin the story where they're the victim in the situation and he's the predator. They're the victim, he's the predator. So he's paying them for things that they did not earn. He has taken on this predator personality, which he's not, but it's in the playbook. For all that has happened, and to vindicate your honor before all who are with you. Before all men, you are cleared and compensated. So Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech and his wife and his maids, and they again gave birth to children. For the Lord had securely closed the wombs of all the women in Abimelech's household because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. So because of her, because of this one woman planting this idea into the minds of these other women, they have now locked their wombs. They do not want to be fertile anymore. They don't want to have their kids. They want to take birth control. They want to have abortions. They don't want to be mothers anymore. They don't want to give birth to life anymore because of this idea that was planted in them. Very interesting to note is the fact that so God is able here to lock wounds and open wounds because Abraham prayed and God opened the wombs and all the women were able to have children again, right? He has not done this for Sarah this whole time. He caused Abraham to leave his father's house with this promise, "I'm going to make you a great nation." You could have done that to me at home because you're showing here that you have the power to open wombs. You could have opened Sarah's womb when I was at home. But you see, what happens is the idea has to attack the ego of the person or a great need in the person. The person has an idea that they have a great need, and then it gets used against them so that they start to behave inappropriately. And the idea is you are not good the way you are. You don't look as good as the others. You don't have as much as the others. You need to go over there and do things to yourself to be as good as them, to have as much as them. So that causes people to act in a way that is violent, unproductive, manipulative, egotistical, maniacal, psychopathic. This is principalities power playbook. This is how it's done. You nurse all your insecurities and all your problems. An idea develops, and you start to tear the entire world apart to get things that do not belong to you. just because you do not want to be content with who you are and what you have. This is so interesting to me. So here Sarah goes, and she's planted in the harem. She disperses the mind virus. These women won't give birth to their children anymore. They start taking their birth control and having their abortions just because it's in the principality's power playbook. If women were to get activated in society and actually reclaim their positions of being women, wives, mothers, the givers of life, we wouldn't have this maniacal society of this extreme masculine energy, because women's the feminine the female energy, the feminine energy of the woman has been stifled. It's been stifled for hundreds, I don't even know, maybe thousands of years, millennia. The female energy has been stifled. Now, here is another person for strategy 7, planting, placing people in positions. So, the Joseph character in the Bible, which wore the coat of many colors, so this Joseph character is another example of planting a person in position, right? Close to a person of power. So this is principalities power playbook to the T. So this is Genesis 41, starting from verse 39. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, because Joseph is now this close to Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since your God has shown you all this, there is no one as discerning and clear headed and wise as you are. You shall have charge over my house, and all my people shall be governed according to your word, and pay respect to you with reverence, submission, and obedience. This is a person that was placed as a plant that was a servant in Pharaoh's house at first. Because remember, that is the principle. You have to be there as a servant as first to show your loyalty. You can't look suspicious. You have to be there as a servant at first and serve and show to them that you are there for them, but really you're there as a plant, because after hundreds of years, you are going to take from that society, community, country. You're going to take the culture, you're going to take the ideas, you're going to start changing things, right? This one is golden. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since your God has shown you all this, there is no one as discerning and clear headed and wise as you are. You shall have charge over my house, and all my people shall be governed according to your word and pay respect to you. So now Pharaoh is allowing the plant to govern. Now the plant is making laws, making rules, changing things. Society is now changing slowly but surely, right? Because the plant is being activated. Their true mission, their true purpose, their true reason for being there is now being activated, coming into harvest, taking fruition. You shall have charge over my house, and all my people shall be governed according to your word, and pay respect to you with reverence, submission, and obedience. Only in matters of the throne will I be greater than you in Egypt. A figurehead, only in matters of the throne. He has lost all power. He's just a figurehead now. He doesn't realize it. He's given Joseph all the power. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you in charge over all the land of Egypt. Doesn't realize that he has given the enemy the power. Then Pharaoh took off his signet ring which is the thing that makes laws. He took it off willingly, took it off willingly. Principality Power Playbook. This is a great play. When you allow the person to willingly give you their power because they didn't even suspect a thing. Then Pharaoh took off his signet ring from his hand and put it on Pharaoh's hand and put it on Joseph's hand. Put it on Joseph's hand himself and dressed him in official vestments of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. He had him ride in his second chariot. But even though Joseph is the one making all the rules, changing all the laws, bringing in customs and things that is counter to Egypt, but Pharaoh doesn't realize it. He has Joseph riding in the second chariot, as if that makes a difference. He's the one making all the rules, so it doesn't even matter. So you have the leader up there talking because they're the figurehead, but it's all the people in the background. They're the ones making all the decisions. They're the ones having society the way you see society today. Does this seem, is this making sense to you? He had him ride in his second chariot, and runners proclaimed before him, "Attention, bow the knee." And he set him over all the land of Egypt. Moreover, Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Though I am Pharaoh," he's like, I am Pharaoh, "yet without your permission shall no man rise his hand to do anything or set his foot to go anywhere in all the land of Egypt. All classes of people shall submit to your authority." All classes of people shall submit to your authority now. All classes, everyone has to submit to the authority. This person is not even of the culture. This person was sent there as a plant, but everyone has to submit now without even realizing it because they have been there for so long, for so many years, activating themselves, slowly changing the culture. Then Pharaoh named Joseph Zaphanath Paneah, and he gave him Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, as his wife. So he's married and he looks locked in like, I'm a part of this community. This community is mine, but he's not. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt to inspect and govern it. I'm going to inspect all of this to make sure everyone is acting in accordance with the great big idea. The idea that we're great, we're the special people. This is our banner, this is our flag, we're special. We control things, control your fertility, we control your kids. We take your resources, we change laws, we change the culture. We have been here for many, 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 many years. We've been in your house, we've been in your community, we've been in your church, we've been at your school. You don't even realize it. We've been here the whole time. We don't think in terms of 30 years for a career and retire. We think in terms of hundreds and thousands of years. You can't even fathom how we think.